Hello and welcome to Colin Bradley Artcast. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
We're back with another podcast. It's been 2 weeks already. Hello, everyone.
Yes. Flying by, isn't it?
It is. It is. Beautiful summer's day here
It's
in England.
gorgeous today. I've been down by the seaside with my friends today. We were walking along the seafront and it was gorgeous, really lovely.
About time.
It is about time, yes.
So.
But it makes up for it though when you see the sun and the sea and all the people in their shirt sleeves, which is very rare in our country. And and summer dresses. It's lovely. Yeah.
Very
brief. It's a bit brief, Steve, but it's still nice when it comes.
Absolutely. We've had a busy week, and
have we?
Lots of things happening this week, and it's no sign of slowing down. It's a nice busy summer. You don't want it to?
Oh, I don't want it to slow down. I thrive. I thrive on being. I always have done ever since I've been in business. I always thrive on being busy.
Do you ever find though, like it's hard to unwind being self-employed?
I don't know. I don't think so. People that haven't been self-employed really have got no idea of the stresses and that go along with it. But there is one thing I would say: when you're self-employed and it's only you're at the top and you're at the bottom, but you are responsible for everything you do. And that is one of the things that I've found most beneficial from being employed by people. When you're employed by people, sometimes you have people I certainly had people under me who I was telling what to do, and I had people over me telling me what to do. And I found that stress much more stressful than being self-employed, because you're kind of piggy in the middle, and that's when the stresses are at their worst. So since I've been employed, I mean, you do get days when you think, oh my goodness, but I've never ever, in all the 40 years I've been self-employed, I've never had a day when I've wished I wasn't. Really? I think I've answered that pretty well.
Yeah, I just, it's just interesting, isn't it? Like, obviously, I've followed your footsteps with being self-employed and have been for 8 years now. And I find sometimes I can get wrapped up in work that I forget to chill. I had a day on Sunday where like me and my girlfriend went to this like forest center and just basically had a picnic and sat out on the grass and just enjoyed the sun and chilled out. And I was like, wow, I don't realize how important it is to chill out.
You're quite right. No, that is important. Yes, time for yourself. I mean, self-employed people generally are workaholics. I know I was, because you're working all hours of the day, Saturdays and Sundays, late nights, early mornings. They don't come into it. That's what you do. But I think generally speaking, you have to have that me time. And you're quite right. I do. People say, "Oh, great for you. You're retired." What? I'm not retired at all. Okay, I'm taking it easier than I did, but I still, even though I'm not actually physically working, I'm thinking. And you must find the same thing. Because you eat and live and breathe what you do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way, Steve. Going back, I haven't. What was I? 33. I was 33, so that's 43 years ago.
Wow.
I was 33 when I was last employed by someone, so I've forgotten what it was like now.
I've pretty much I haven't forgotten what it was like. It was only 8 years ago, but
yeah. Yes, but it's still a long time pro rata, Stevie, isn't it? Compare with my age. Yeah. No, I agree. It's wonderful. I wouldn't have it any way. You're much more passionate about things, especially if you've got a job like we have, which is a lovely job to have. Let's face it. And I know I wouldn't change it, and I'm sure you wouldn't either. Now.
No, I wouldn't. No, definitely not. 100%. And we've been busy, as people may have seen, with all the sort of new things that we've been adding, especially on YouTube. We're pumping out the videos and clips and tips and blogs as well. We're pushing out a lot of blogs at the moment, a lot of tips, sort of dissecting a lot of our bigger clips, bigger courses, and finding some real gems of information that people will see.
Well, it's not slowing down. Each one you put up, you know, it's almost 1,000 views within a few days. And so that was unheard of, you know, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You had to wait 6 months to get that sort of figure. But now it's going fast. And I think people are really appreciating. You're getting such a variety of information out there, which is wonderful. I love to do it. I love to give information away. It's great to have people, especially you get the lovely comments we're getting as well.
Well, yeah, I was going to say about comments. We're getting lots of YouTube comments, and really that's what fuels what we're putting up, and all the feedback and emails and comments that you post really do help us out.
Oh yes.
So it does shape what we're able to put up and improve, you know, and we'd like to put up what people want to see. Obviously we pick out gems that we know people will like, but yeah, just wanted to talk about that. Got quite a lot of questions today to go through. The first one is a YouTube comment, and it comes from Praveen. Can pastel pencil color be diluted or shaded by a brush, like putting strokes over it if required? Does that make sense?
Yes and no. You can't really do that. If you were using soft pastel, you could. I would say that is possible. I've never ever done it, mind you, but I suppose you could. But the pastel pencil is water soluble. I don't know whether people knew that. And at one point in time, I did a series of pictures that were using diluted pastel pencil in water. You don't dip them in. I used to shave it off and then mix it up. What's the point of that? You say, might as well use watercolor. Absolutely. And that's what, in the end, I did. I thought, well, why am I fiddling about using water with the pastel pencil when I can quite easily use watercolor? So it didn't really come to anything. But the fact that you can do it, yes, you can. Certainly you wouldn't dip them into water, because that would ruin the pencil. But they can be, yes, they are water soluble. But as far as a brush is concerned, no, we don't need it. We've got the color shapers. They're far, far superior to any brush, because you're pushing it into the paper. No, so the answer is no. I wouldn't do it, and I can't really see any benefit to it.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't quite know what was meant by that comment, but that makes more sense now. And I didn't know that about water soluble. That's interesting. The next email that came through was by someone. Well, I'll read it out. From Grenville. Hi, Colin. I met you many years ago at the Patchings, Nottinghamshire. I had been trying pastel pencils, and you taught me such a lot on how to use them via your packs and booklets. Since then, I've gone my own way and copied many of the master's paintings in pastel pencils. I'm now doing photographs, having just completed a large picture of the Rialto Bridge in Venice for my son and his wife. I found you again on YouTube, and I'm delighted that you're still working with such enthusiasm, and that your son Steve is helping you with the IT side of things. I've taken out a 30-day membership because I feel that I need to brush up again on the use of base colors. Sorry for the length of the email, but I just wanted to say hello again and thank you for all your help in the past, and I'm sure in the future. All the very best, Grenville.
Well, Grenville will already have found out that things have changed enormously since those early days. The pastel pencil has come into its own big time now, and we're using it in quite a different way to what we used to. I had a set of rules then. One of them was you have to work from light to dark. You can't put light colors on top of dark. Well, now you can. but there are rules there that as long as you abide by them, you can do it. So that's one of the major ones. The other one, of course, is the blending side. I one time said you can't use color shapers, folks. They won't work. They'll blend the pastel too much. And now I use them non-stop. So, and it's like an advances in technology and techniques. So we have now, I think probably the foundation of some spectacular, well, I know we have, you've seen some of the pictures I've done recently, and they are changing all the time. And the fact that Grenville likes to do old masters was a very interesting point. He will be able to do all of those old masters using the pastel pencil, because with the, it kind of resembles oil in a way. It's got that kind of texture to it, like no other. And I'm sure he will find that when he starts to use some of our new techniques.
Well, Patchings is an art festival, and a few people asked whether we were going this year, and I said that unfortunately we wouldn't. We did go a couple of years ago, didn't we? But we just found it wasn't sort of convenient, really.
Well, no, I think no, you're right. The problem is, Steve, we have a worldwide audience now, and to go to a limited audience like Patchings really didn't do us any good. We're better to work on the worldwide basis, whereby we have thousands of people who are following us now, and we kind of have that audience rather than a small audience. It was nice to do it again, and it was nice to meet some of the members. I mean, that was lovely.
Yeah.
But I can't ever see a benefit to us. We can't afford the time anymore, Steve. You can't afford it, and neither can I. We've got lots of very exciting things that's coming up over the next 6 months, which is going to change the face of Colin Bradley art again. And we've got to be ready for it. So we can't really afford it. At the moment, anyway, never say never.
No, exactly. If we become a little less busy, which probably won't happen, but you never know. Unless we start employing lots of people to do our jobs for us, then, well, you can't employ anyone to do your job. You're the only one that can do it.
That's right.
The next one comes from Jill, and Jill says, I was listening to one of your podcasts on portraits, and you mentioned about trial and error with skin colouring and going back to balance and counterbalance. My question is, how far can you take this without the picture going muddy or damaging the paper, especially when you are working on a commissioned piece? I ask this because I'm doing an animal portrait from a photo right now, and I'm finding it obviously trial and error, and I'm finding that there are quite a lot of colours in even just the animal's ear. I think this is because it is a photo and I might be fussing too much, but is it okay to keep layering?
No. That's a simple answer to that. The basic rule of the pastel pencil application is you use as few colours as you can get away with. I know people think, oh, blimey, you're using loads. Well, if I'm using loads, I need to use loads, but I don't use unnecessary colours. And it's really important to emphasize this, because the pastel paper that we use anyway is limited in the amount of punishment it'll take. People know that already. I'm sure they've probably found that, where you can start getting a shine if you press too hard too frequently on one spot. So no, the answer to that is you have trial and error. Definitely. I learned everything I know now through trial and error, and it's not easy, and portraits are one of the hardest of all to do. But we're talking about animals and animals' ears. I would say that when you're looking, if you look at my YouTube clips or my members site, you'll see that I do use a limited amount of colors. And if you look at them and analyze them, you think, well, could Colin have got away with that color? Or could he have maybe, not put so many on? And analyze it. Be critical, because I think you'll find that I can't get away with any less, and if I use more, I'll ruin it. Now that comes with experience, Steve. There's no way I can teach people from the word go when they're doing their own pictures what they need to do. When they're following me, it's easy. I give them the pencil numbers and I give them the pressures. Usually I tell them if I'm pressing light or hard on a pencil. But I'm afraid the answer to that is trial and error is the only way you will learn. It's easy to, I mean, I think we do give quite a lot of shortcuts. A lot of the tips we give are shortcuts. I wished I'd had them when I was starting out, but there's no compensation for trying it yourself and making it work for yourself. I mean, I'm currently, I don't know whether you're going to mention this, but I'm currently working on a digital art, and I'm loving every minute of it. But I had to go back to the drawing board again. I've had to start again. Now, okay, I'm somewhere along the line because I've got a lot of experience in color toning and so on. But I have floundered. My first attempt was very, very poor. But the last attempt was very good. Not brilliant, but very good. So I'm learning. We've all got to do that. But the only way you learn is to find out what you can and you can't do.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, good. I think that answers the question really, and that's good. Especially when you start, well, not starting out, but just understanding how the pastel pencils work and how they differ. Then it is. Okay,
one other thing that I did pick up from that. Am I being too fussy? Probably. That is a mistake. Sometimes you can overwork, and when you do that, that's when things start to go wrong.
Right.
Okay, it's hard to know where to stop, but you will know eventually where to stop.
Okay. Good. All right, Jill. Well, thanks for the question, and yeah, I hope that's helped. Next one comes from Yvonne, and she says, "Hi, I've struggled for years with pastel pencils, but watching Colin has suddenly made me realise that I cannot comfortably do the strokes the way he does because I'm left-handed. If you had anyone in the studio who is left-handed, it would be lovely to see a demo. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and do the strokes in the opposite direction as Colin." We've actually got some members that are left-handed artists.
Yes, we have.
And we did a blog actually on this, and one of them, Ricky, commented on it actually, saying that he doesn't have a problem. But do you want to talk about this, because you've had experience with?
I've had experience myself. When I had my art classes, I had half a dozen or more. I can't remember now, but it was quite a number of people who were left-handed. Didn't make a slightest bit difference. They carried on, because once they see you working, they adapt it themselves. If I was seeing a left-handed person work, I would adapt it to right-handed naturally. So I don't think that's a problem. There's all sorts of things you can do. You can, look at the video of mine in a mirror. I mean, if you've got an iPad, it's easy. You just put an iPad up and then put a mirror, and you'll be seeing yourself or seeing me working left-handed. I think that's a bit extreme, personally. I don't think you need to do that, but if that helps, well, it helps. But the strokes, a left-handed person is much more adept at reading the right-handed person's work than the other way around, because they've been in the minority of people, of persons, and they have had to do it all their life. It's handicap would be a wrong word to use. It's not a handicap. It's just a minor inconvenience, I think.
Yeah.
You happen to be, not like the majority of people. But I don't really think it makes a difference. It never has done in all my experience. I had once upon a time, I don't know if I've ever told you this, I had somebody who was colorblind.
Oh, really?
Severely colorblind as well. He couldn't tell any color from anything. But fortunately, he did brilliant work. I remember one time he did a Freddie Mercury of Queen.
Yeah, you have said this before on the podcast.
Absolutely breathtaking, with lots of color in it. I said, how on earth do you do that? He said, well, the pencil numbers. I know what pencil numbers to use.
Wow.
And he so folks, if you can do something like that, then you can overcome these little problems.
Yeah. Wow, gosh, that's amazing. Well, thanks, Yvonne, for the question anyway, and I hope that you're able to grasp the techniques. In the other hand, the next one comes from Paolo. Hi, Colin. I am learning a lot from you. I use more or less all the materials that you use, and perhaps I should complete my tools with a few new blenders. Yes, well, the blenders are invaluable, as we've know. About the ingres sandpaper, I find it an excellent paper, but I have a question. Sometimes I can't avoid the grid of the horizontal and vertical lines of the texture that shows underneath the pastel. Even applying more color and gently blending it doesn't solve the problem. Of course, in your drawings, this doesn't happen.
Well, then I've solved the problem, haven't I?
Yeah, if drawing a building, the grid can be very useful, but in many cases, I wouldn't want it to appear. How can I avoid the problem? Any suggestions, please?
Yes, absolutely. Watch more of my YouTube clips or my member site clips, specifically when I use dark colors. It's usually the darker colors that cause the problem, and you'll see that there's two ways of getting over it. If you've got the blender, you haven't got a problem because that will blend in now really well, as you will see. If you haven't got the blender, then you can use another color to do it with. I used to do that in the old days. I used to put a softer color on top of the harder color and blend it in. That worked really well, especially with black animals or dark animals. But that is where the main problem comes now. If you're using dark colors, they can tend to skirt across the paper, leaving those lines. If you've got good base colors though, and that's the key to this, and those base colors are blended into the paper, you shouldn't have any problem at all in blending the darker, stronger colors into that base. The thing is, the tooth gives it a presence on the paper, and this is so important to bring lifelike quality to the work. If you used a smooth paper, and people said to me, oh, I like, I can't remember the name of it now. Anyway, whatever it is, I like that, the velour, that's right, which doesn't have that tooth. It looks like, to me, brilliant though the work that I've seen is, it loses that lifelike quality. Looks a little bit flattish.
Smooth.
Yes, it doesn't have the texture, for want of a better word. No, that's only my opinion, though. I mean, other people would say, "Oh no, hang on, no, I've sold a lot of work and people love it." But then, fine. I'm just giving you the benefit of my opinion.
Yeah.
What we do and the paper that I use produces the kind of work that I want to produce.
Yeah, good point. And I mean, Paolo obviously mentions the blenders. Well, that's you see so often in the videos. You using the blender to push more of the pastel into the tooth. So investing some of those in some of the color shapers, or just one to start off with, the grey one.
The grey one, yeah, the grey number two would be the best.
Yeah.
Just one. I know, some people find them, I don't think they are that expensive, not for what you get out of them. I mean, I've still got I've got 2 or 3 color blenders, number 2 chisel, and I've not replaced them in the 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know how many been using, but I use them constantly.
Yeah,
I've got several because I had at the time when I had workshops, we used to hand them out. That's how I got them. It's not that I bought them. It's just that I used them for that. But they last forever and ever and ever.
Yeah,
cheap.
Very, very well built. Yeah, very very durable. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's the questions I've got for this week. I do want to touch upon a few things that we're doing. The first thing we mentioned a couple of podcasts ago, I think, that we were looking at giclée prints.
Oh yes.
And we've now got one up on the store that people can buy, which is the Red Squirrel.
Oh yes.
One of your original pieces.
Yes.
And when we were a couple of weeks ago, when we were testing out the printing facility, went to the gallery that we're getting them done at, and we got what is now the final version done of the print, and we compared it side by side. It's crazy, isn't it? Like almost indistinguishable.
Yep.
The artwork from the print. I was
original. I would defy anybody who's see that picture mounted, double mounted in a frame, side by side with the original double mounted in a frame. I guarantee even I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah,
wouldn't be able to. They're so good.
Yeah, it's crazy. Brilliant. It's absolutely crazy. And we're starting off with the Red Squirrel just as a starting off point, whilst we look at other pieces to get done. But I just wanted to mention that they're now on sale, and they're on sale at discounted introductory price of £18 each. So, and they don't come mounted or framed. We're giving that option to you guys to choose and to take your framers.
That's a good idea, don't you, Steve? Because people have said, "Oh, don't you have it framed?" Well, if you have a print and take it into your framer, you can choose first of all your own decor. You can say, "Oh, it's going on this wall, and I've got exactly the place for it." So you can choose your mount and your frame to go into that particular environment. I think it's much nicer to do it that way than have a ready-made picture, which usually, if an artist frames a picture and sells it framed, he's kind of gone as neutral as he can, a simple gold frame or a simple wood frame with perhaps an ivory mount on it. No, you might like that, might be fine, but that's playing safe. It's like when you sell a house, you paint all your walls ivory.
Yeah.
Because it sells it better. And this is the whole idea. But when you buy a print like ours and you think, no, I want this to be special, then you can tailor it to whatever you want. So I think it's a good idea, Steve.
Yeah. One of the pictures I would love for us to do is this prowling tiger. I'd love for us to do that as a print. I love that picture. But we're exploring other print options. But if you want to buy a print, then go over to the store, and we've added the giclée print to the site. And you mentioned earlier, we won't talk fully about it now, but I just wanted to touch upon it, as we'll do a whole podcast about it in the future. You bought yourself an iPad Pro, didn't you? One of the bigger iPad Pros, and
I splashed out.
You did, and one of the pencils that they're selling now with these, that are promoting sort of digital art and all the apps that go along with that. And we set you up with that, and it was really interesting for me to be like, how does this translate? How is it going to translate from physical artwork to digital art? Do you want to just give a quick update on how you're doing with that? Because it's been a couple of weeks of just, not all the time, but just dipping in and out of the app and seeing what you can do.
Yes. Well, first of all, I love it. Love it to bits. I did try a landscape, but I didn't like it. So I'm kind of, at the moment anyway, sticking to animals. And I found that it's very different. There's a lot of advantages to it than there is in drawing and painting. Certainly less messy. Mistakes can be erased immediately because you've got a smashing rubber you can take it off. The other great thing about it, and this is I found invaluable, is you can enlarge your picture. So if you're doing a picture of the latest one I did, this is the Dalmatian. If you were to do that, you can enlarge the picture to four times. I think it's 4 or 5 times bigger. So therefore you can get really fine detail, and then when you bring it back to normal, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can do that. And there are 1 or 2 things that I feel that I had a lot to learn. It's going to be, I reckon, from my progress, which at the moment I think is almost good enough to say this is something that I would publish just to get it off the ground. I think I would be looking at another 2 or 3 months of work, because the thing is, it's like a hobby. It's going back like having the hobby. I mean, I have my day job, which is all the pastel pencil work that I do, and I've kind of this is more of a hobby,
Yeah.
and it's a good alternative. I wouldn't necessarily think at the moment people ought to go out and buy them, but if we get to the point where we feel that this is something that we can offer, then we have choices, don't we? And I think you've got some ideas about that. I don't think we want to mix it with the pastel pencil. The
No.
pastel pencil is unique. It needs to be where it is, and quite rightly, right up the beginning, right up the top of the tree, as far as I'm concerned. But digital art, there is a market for it, and I think people. The thing is, a lot of people have got iPads now. It's
Yeah.
and a lot more people are going to get them.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to have an iPad Pro. I decided to have it because it was a better, it was a bigger for me.
Well, it's the iPad Pro is the one that works with the pencil, and you can get a smaller iPad Pro at the sort of standard size, but you can get the sketching app that you're using, which is Adobe Sketch. You can get that on all iPads.
Yeah, and that's free, isn't it? You don't have to pay for that.
It's free. Yeah, it's crazy. You can just pick up your iPad, download the free app, and be creating a picture straight away. But yeah, it's just interesting, exploring the digital art, and that's why I wanted to sort of check in with how you're doing. So maybe every now and again we'll just check in and see what.
Yes, please do, because
things you're learning.
I love it. I think it's great. It's an alternative to me to the pastel pencil. It won't replace it. It never will. But it's nice to have it as an alternative. And for me, it's like my hobby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can lose myself in it completely. It's absolutely. I mean, 2 hours, 3 hours go by without any trouble at all.
Wow. Yeah, that's good. That's a
less,
good sign.
Less strenuous than I suppose, because there's no pressure on me.
Yeah.
When I'm doing it, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. When I'm doing a pastel pencil picture, it's got to work. That's my job. I can't. Not. I don't want people to get the wrong idea that I'm really stressed up when I'm doing it. I'm not. But I'm conscious of the fact that this is the job, and this is people are going to be following and looking at what we do.
Yeah,
but
naturally.
I love it. I love it to bits. So watch this space. I'll let you know.
Good. Oh, we like to tease things that are coming up, and that's just something that you're working on that may develop into something, maybe, possibly. If anyone else out there, we obviously, this is the first time we're really talking about it. If anyone else out there uses it, then let us know. Be interesting to see if anyone else has tried doing this.
Well, also, if people feel it's something that they'd like us to do something about, or like me to do something about, because I'm quite happy to pass my knowledge on through, perhaps another YouTube channel or something. Now there's ways we can do it without encroaching on what we do at the moment.
Yeah.
Let us know. Drop us a line. You might be using it and having lots of problems.
That's
Don't
it.
ask me how to get out of it. I might ask you.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, we'll leave it there for this time. We'll be back in another 2 weeks with another podcast. And next week we'll have a feedback show already packed full of submissions, which is good. So keep them coming in. And if you want to get feedback on your artwork for next week's show, then you just have to join our membership, which is at colinbradleyart.com. And that's it for this time. Thanks everyone for listening. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Enjoy your week.